All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. We're on the Tomofree TK200. And if you don't know what that bike is because you did not see my review video, I'll pull over here in a second. But really quick, I want to let you guys know that I did update this bike. So hopefully the mile per hour reads correctly now. So I went into the settings and I adjusted some things. It says we're doing about 30 miles right now, which I would assume is probably right. The wheel diameter speed was at 20 and I changed it to 22. That's what normally you would put on these bikes with these size of tires with a 20 by 4 inches wide. Let me pull over here real quick so you guys can see what I'm working with. Okay, so here is the bike, and I have some very huge updates from this bike if you watch my review video. If you didn't, really go back and watch that because there's a lot of things that are about to change right now that I'm gonna tell you right now. So you guys saw that we were messing with the bike and having fun with it. The pedal assist stopped working. I'm actually gonna see if that works in a little bit when we take it to work and see if it fixed it, because we did fully turn the bike off. Because last time when I turned it off, we only turned it off using this button, which turns off the display, but we didn't turn it off with the key. So maybe that reset something. I haven't tried out the pedals yet. Another thing, if you guys saw in my video review, is when I hit the brakes, this was not getting brighter. I'm pushing the brake lever and it's not getting brighter. But now this is actually getting brighter. But we'll go into that later tonight when I take it on a ride. We'll also test out this headlight as well to see how that looks. One thing I do want to note though, if your headlights aren't turned on, because obviously you see this is not on right now, the headlight's not on as well, it will work with the brake lever like that. Now when you do turn the headlights on, this does get brighter. But I noticed when I do hit the brakes, there's a little light right here. It's not that noticeable, but it gets brighter. It did not do that in my video review, which is weird. Another thing I noticed too is that we're supposed to have a daytime running light on this thing, and it worked in my video review. It's supposed to be this ring right here, and it's not working anymore. You're always gonna have a daytime running light, so this is gonna be on 24/7 as long as the bike is activated and on. So I don't know what's going on. So see, that's with the headlight on and off, but we were supposed to have a ring right there. So I'm a little lost on what happened with this bike, but let's get on the way before I'm late for work. Another thing you could do on this bike is if you hold this top up button, you get a headlight button right there, but that doesn't change anything in the front. The daytime running light is still not on. I just looked. So I believe that's just for this display right here. So we don't have to worry about that. I'm just gonna turn that right back off, and we're just gonna worry about the actual headlight button when we get to the night riding footage, which I'm kind of excited for because I know that Tomofree does put some good headlights on these bikes. We saw it in the garage. It looked fantastic. I wasn't complaining whatsoever. It didn't look super wide, but honestly, we were in a very small area, my garage. So I'm expecting it to perform very well, just like the BR100, which is a fantastic bike. I highly recommend you guys look at that bike as well. There are a bunch of pros and cons versus buying that than buying this, just because this one has like an upgrade path where you can put a bigger battery underneath the seat, and you can probably swap out the motor a lot easier, where the other one has a tube design where the battery goes in, so replacing the battery is going to be a pain in the ass. You have to actually get a battery from the company. You can't just put in what you want. And but I will say the other one, I don't know, I liked how the other one rode, but I also like how this one rides too. It's just so smooth. I'm just worried about people that are thanks man, that are a little heavier, because I'm 165, 170 pounds, and it feels very soft to me. So it's just something I'm a little worried if you guys are like 200 pounds or more. Might feel a little too soft. All right, we're jamming. Now there is a lot of noise coming from this bike, man, especially in that section. It's so bumpy. So some of the things that are making noise, the battery doesn't really sit down with any Velcro straps or anything like that, so I would have liked to seen it secured a little better. So the battery inside is barely moving around, but what's making the most noise right now is the clip. There's a key that you use right here, and there's a little bar system right here, and the seat is ever so slightly like popping up like this, and it's rubbing on that metal clip, and that's what's making that clunky noise. And another thing you guys noticed too is when I was sitting on this bike in my review video, the rear fender comes definitely very close to the tire. And I would highly suggest, if you are a bigger rider, you might want to switch out the rear shock. Now that might make your deciding factor if you want to buy it or not, because who wants to buy a bike that you have to modify right off the bat? And I get it, you know, so I'm just trying to be honest with you guys and let you guys know This is really for riders under 200 pounds, even though the limit is like past 300. And here we go again. I forgot that this road is closed, so we're gonna have to fit. Holy crap. This is a big dip right here. All right. Woo! It's comfortable though, I will say. Oh man, I'm messing up all the trails. My bad. My bad. They got all these like smooth like lines and stuff, and I'm just running them all over. Like I don't care. All right, I'm going across. I'm going across. Not the fastest bike, but I don't want to sit there and wait. It's 110 degrees, man. It's hot out here. We got to keep moving. But I'm wondering what this road is actually going to be for. I have no idea yet. Is this going to be like a side road? I have no idea. So one thing I'm really worried about this bike when I was going to take it to work today, and I'm hoping I don't have to do this again because I do not want to get left stranded, is the tires. I'm really worried that I'm gonna get a flat in these tires, like get punctured very, very easy. The MacFox bike that I sold, that one got a flat easy. They all use the same tires. I technically want to say these are from the same brand, but they're a little bit more knobby than the MacFox, but still, they can puncture with the smallest little like thorn or anything, and I don't really take the best roads to work. Like all this stuff that's over here on the side right here, like these bushes, they have thorns. So let's just pray we don't get a flat. I left early for work just in case something bad happens. I'll also say that I'm not wearing gloves. Obviously, you can tell that I don't have gloves on right now. And I just really wanted to get a feel of how these grips felt, and I'm not a fan. Now, they don't hurt at all or whatsoever, but my hand is sweating on them because they're like a fake rubber in the middle, but then it's like aluminum all over the place. So literally my hand is sweating while being on here, and it's also slippery. It's making it more slippery as well, but it's slippery right off the bat. These are not good grips at all. But wow, man, that thing took a turn very, very good right now, surprisingly. Oh yeah, wow. Go from one con to one pro. That actually turns very smoothly. You just barely put your weight into it, and it just wants to go into that turn nice and like firm and comfortably. Like I liked it, not too bad. Now coming up the hill, doesn't feel like we have too much power. 21 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour. It's definitely not the fastest e-bike out there on the market. It's actually pretty slow to pick up the speed, if I'm being 100% real with you guys. It's just more of a, I don't know, a cruiser. I really do like the BR100 though. I felt like the BR100 had a little bit more power than this thing does. Which it looks like this bike would have more power than the BR100, the way they made this thing look, but it doesn't. But it definitely does feel pretty smooth. And coming downhill 32 miles an hour, if you guys can't read that display, because it did get pretty scratched up. There is no like cover on it. I think maybe it would have had one, maybe it got ripped off or something like that, and I think that's why the display got kind of scratched up all over the place. Another thing a lot of you guys talked about was how short the bike was, and I will say yes, it feels similar to the Ingwe M20. It felt like a short bike. It doesn't feel as bad as the M20. The M20 was packed as heck. A lot of people love that bike. I wasn't the big fan of it. The Ninja loved it. He said that was probably one of the best bikes from Ingwe. I don't know, I couldn't sit on it very properly, and he's a huge guy, so maybe I was just overthinking that bike, but I don't know. I'm not gonna go back on what I said. That's how I felt when I rode it. And this one does feel slightly small, but when I'm riding it, it's not that bad. But I am sitting on the back of the seat, I will say. So obviously look at all this room I have on the front of the seat. I'm on the very edge of it. So the fact that the seat is longer than the M20 makes this thing a little bit better for my leg room. And when I pedal too, I don't feel like my feet are coming up too high at all. I feel like it's very comfortable. I don't have any problems. Let's see if my pedal assist started working again. Nope. Hey, look at this. They opened this road up. Well, kinda. Half of it they opened up, but that's cool. Everyone wants us to take this road, I guess. Interesting. Well, I guess we're not gonna be bringing the Extreme Bull K6 on that road anymore by ourselves. That was fun. We're doing good so far, guys. Not a complaint. Look at this. Look at that. Yeah, you can't do that on a lot of e-bikes going from a curb to the street with that step down on the curb. Perfectly fine. Just a little bit of rattles. You're just gonna have to get used to that unless you put some rubber in some spots and kind of, fix it up a little bit, like button it up. But I don't think it's bad. It definitely powered over that hill pretty good. And now coming down this hill, 31, 32. All right, so the good news is we made it to work and I don't feel the tires getting flat. So that's the pro. Now the next thing is I'm very excited for the night riding footage all the time because I like to show you guys these headlights and do a long night riding footage, because every time people get reviews of these products, they don't ride them at night. They just ride them like during the day. And I'm not gonna fit. I'm not gonna fit. I could take a shortcut, but we're not gonna chance it on getting a flat. But someone had some ice cream bars. They look pretty good. And an umbrella. Umbrella would be handy right now. Does anyone try putting an umbrella on a bike and like getting some shade while you ride, or do you think it would just like flip backwards and break or something? Okay, I'm going around. Thanks. Ooh, brake. Now these brakes weren't the best when I did my video review, so just keep that in mind, but they were like intermediate. But they're still gonna work, and they're hydraulic, so they do feel good in the hands. They're just, I think you would want better brake pads, especially if you ride very fast like I do. But if you're just taking it easy on a trail, you should be all right. So you have two ways of turning this off. You can turn it off with the M button, but to turn off the whole entire thing, you have to use the key right here, which we'll have to take off as well, because I have it on here just so I didn't lose it. All right, well, I guess I will see you guys at nighttime. Give me a second. I do like the fact that that lights up, but hold on really quick. Let me just show you, give you a little preview. This did not work in my video review. Look, it's actually getting brighter now. I don't know what's going on with this bike. We lost pedal assist, but then we got the brake in the back. All right, see you guys in 10 hours. Let's go, let's go. All right. Nighttime, baby. Ah, my brakes. My brakes. And things are making noise. I think it's the battery making that nasty noise other than the brakes, man. So I think I said it in my review video. I didn't tighten these brakes whatsoever. I didn't align them. Normally what you want to do is like align the brake caliper up to the brake rotor. I didn't do none of that because I didn't really plan to. And something I've been noticing, as soon as I sit on this bike, like legit, as soon as I sit on it, the seat comes undone. I think what's happening is the latch and the seat are too far apart. And as soon as I sit on the back of it, it just wants to, it pops up like that. So I feel like the seat needs to be adjusted closer up front so it has a better like locking, like, I don't know, it has to overlap more. It's like kind of like this, it needs to overlap like that, if I'm making sense. So yeah, I've been having issues after issues with this seat, and when I got to work it was open and I closed it and still messed up. All right, interesting. I think it's the weekend, everyone's racing. But anyways, that is not what you guys are here about. This is the night riding footage and we're here to check out the lights. So give me one brief second. So far it doesn't look too bad. I feel like it needs to be adjusted ever so slightly. And I think it's crooked. It might be crooked, I'm not sure. But let me get on this little trail really quick and we'll go over the lights. What the hell is this? Come on, guys, a cone right in the middle of the bike lane. Thanks, man, thanks. Look at this, another thing in the bike lane. Don't go, truck, don't go. Do not go, whatever you do. All right, thanks, thanks, buddy. Whoa, we came in hot. I know we got some off-road tires, man, but this thing slid. I had to put my foot down. I almost legit went down. So far, I have not wrecked on any of these bikes. I wrecked on a skateboard, and that day sucked. I was out for a little bit. But anyways, let's get in between two of these lights while I just make a bunch of squeaky noise going up and down the street. And here we go. All right. So, as you can tell, I do think, it's not like it's bent, but I don't think I put the headlight on completely straight. But you can tell that, is it just me? Or does it look like the headlight kind of flares out higher on the sides? But anyways, let's get it at a good angle. This looks pretty good because I can see down there on the fence. And what I'm gonna do is put the kickstand down. Let's walk in front of this light and see how it looks. Not too bad. All right, all right. It's not blinding, and the way it's sitting, it's actually, it's pretty good. Well, oh, now it's actually sitting off to the corner, so. Damn, that guy has to be doing 100 and something. That guy was moving. All right, you guys are distracting me during my review, but look at this brake light. Holy moly. Honestly, the headlight mixed with this brake light, you're not gonna have any issues whatsoever getting around with this thing and people seeing you. I just don't like the fact that, and it actually is working, we showed you earlier, but it does get a little brighter. There's only LEDs on the top, but it doesn't get that much brighter. But I will say, I don't want to complain too much about it because that brake light is probably one of the best brake lights I've seen. But what I think they should have done, and don't be mad at me by saying this, but I feel like the brake light should have been 20% dimmer than it is right now, and then when you do hit the brakes, it goes like maybe 20 or 30% more brighter. That's my own personal opinion. Another thing on this bike too, really quick before I ride off and we take this trail and go back home, there's no turn signals at all. So just keep that in mind at this price point at about, I think using my coupon code, I think you can get this thing for like $1,600 and some change. There's no turn signals. I would have liked to see turn signals, but we don't have none. And I am using gloves on the way back. Holy crap, can you guys see this? I'm really gonna have to adjust this headlight. So look, this is me sitting up, and then this is me when I sit on it. Remember how I told you in my video review, it feels like a waterbed? So this headlight definitely has to go down because with my weight on the back, that suspension is really like sitting low right now. But I like the fact that I can see, and it is so weird that there's traffic here now. That is so odd to me. They opened this up. It's just nuts. And I'm wondering what that big light's for when there's no one working over here. So are they just gonna leave that light on like 24/7? Or is, oh, you know what it is? It's probably for traffic going through there because it's such a new area and there's no lights up yet over there. But all right, that kind of makes sense. Real quick, I've only went 1 mile from my work since we left, and voltage sag on this thing is showing, oh my God, I gotta get back on it to see that. It's about 78. And then when I let off, it goes up all the way to like 100. Not a huge fan of that. When I started reviewing this bike in my first video, I was like, oh, it doesn't have voltage sag because it set at 100% for like the longest time. And then as it started going down to like 95%, I noticed when you would hit it, it would all of a sudden start dropping down more and more and more. Then as soon as you let off, it goes all the way back up to 100. Oh, let's go up this way. I'm not a fan of that, to be honest. Voltage sag is not cool, but let's see what type of settings I have in here, if I can switch any settings. So we got our trip. We got U 49.3. That actually might be the voltage now that I think about it. Let me see. Yep, okay, we do have voltage on here, so we can see our voltage reading. So thank you. Thank you. All right, so I had to hit the M button a couple times and it showed up. But check this out. So we're at 49.3, which if I'm not mistaken, this is like 70 or so percent. Let's see what else we have on here for settings. So here's the time that I've been on the bike since we left work. So almost 9 minutes, which is pretty cool. This looks like a password. I'm not gonna put in a password, but I am going to leave it on the voltage, which is very weird that it doesn't say like L. But it's kind of weird that it doesn't have a V. And let me go across real quick, hold on, instead of talking and getting an accident or getting hit. It's just weird it doesn't have a V on there for voltage, it says U. What does U stand for? And it's not to show you, I just don't know. It don't make any sense to me, but under voltage sag on this thing, it says 47, and then now it's 47.6. It was 47 flat. But now that we're going uphill, it's gonna start using some power. There we go, now we're dipping into the 46 range. I forget what we can go down to. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's 40 volts. I could be wrong though, or maybe it's 42 volts, somewhere around there. I'm gonna have to put the chart on the screen so you guys can see that. But props to them for having it integrated into this display so you guys can check that out. Because once you guys get your voltage down with what's at 100%, what's in the middle, and then what's at dead, then you'll 100% know how much longer you have to ride this bike. And this key, I need to take the second one off because it's just flapping. It's just literally doing circles. You guys can see that. Just having a time of itself, like making a bunch of noise, like click clacking noise. And then we get a squeaky noise from the suspension. I don't know. I like this bike. Don't get me wrong, guys. I want to say, like, I'd probably hold off on this one just because it's fun and I love the design of it. If you guys really love it, like, don't let me be the deciding factor if you guys buying it or not. But if you guys want my opinion, I just feel like it's not polished yet. I feel like there's a little bit of things that they need to work on to get this thing running right. Now the brakes, I could deal with that. That's not a big deal. Oh dang, that car has some bright ass lights. I was wondering what was behind me. The seat feels great. It is a little wide, so it's something you kind of got to get used to, but bigger people shouldn't have a problem. But the other problem is bigger people probably will have a problem with the soft suspension in the back. I'm not a huge fan of the suspension myself. It feels a little too soft even for me. And now on a regular road, when you're gonna hit stuff here and there, like small bumps, you don't feel a single thing. It feels great. It feels similar to a waterbed. That's the best way I can explain it. And it's not like terrible. Like a waterbed does not feel bad. But if you were constantly going over and over like bad terrain back and forth, I can see it being a little bit like almost seasick in a way. You're not gonna get sick on a bike, but just to give you an idea of how you're gonna feel, you're just gonna kind of be like floating up and down. I would have just liked to see the suspension be ever so slightly stiffer. I don't know the spring rate on here in the back. Normally they have like a rating on there, like if it's a 550, 650 or something. It just needs to maybe go up an extra 100 and I think you'll be fine. But then again, if you buy this bike, you're gonna have to spend maybe an extra $100 or $80 on a new thing in the bag for it to not be so soft. But I really wanna say this bike is for people that might wanna think about upgrading it to be a cool looking motorcycle looking e-bike in a way, or maybe like a replica Sur-Ron in a way. You could definitely change out these side panels and like paint them if you want. You could definitely take them off and do some crazy stuff to it. Putting a different controller in here wouldn't be that hard. You just have to probably change a bunch of the display and the throttle and stuff like that. But I kind of like it in a way, but I don't. You know, I'm kind of 50-50 about it. If it was like maybe under $1,500 with my coupon code, I would say like there's some shortcomings on it, but you can fix it with a little bit of money. But with it being about, it's like 16 something, like 1650 or 1630 with my discount code instead of being, I think it's like $1,800. So definitely make sure to use a coupon code, please, if you guys do decide to buy it. I just feel like you're gonna spend a little bit of extra money on it. That's all. All right, let me go through here. Oh, what? Oh, look, there's my old trail. We're going through some sand, guys, and it's doing pretty good. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Oh. I bet you a lot of people in this neighborhood are thinking like, no one should be coming down this block, and then I come down and like, who the hell, where'd this guy come from? The street's closed, pizza boy. But I don't know. I think after this video, we're gonna be done with it. Hey, our battery said 69 and it went away, so the joke is not that funny anymore. But I do think it's not a bike that I would be like fun to ride day in and day out. It just squeaks too much. A little bit of stuff that's an inconvenience. I don't want to be riding with my buddies or riding around town trying to show off my cool bike and pull up and the brakes are like squeaking really bad, which you could probably fix it, but the seat mechanism is just what's killing it for me. That's something that you really probably have to work on and figure out if you're gonna be able to get it to like stop opening and closing and like actually lock, or maybe weld a bigger piece on there or bolt a bigger latch on there. I don't know. You guys are gonna have to figure out something. But upgrade path on this bike, like I said, it's probably what you guys are probably gonna buy it for, but don't buy it. It is gonna be your first and only bike and you're really like struggling to make money, and you know, you're waiting to buy a bike and you're like, I want the best of the best. Honestly, the best of the best bike right now is the Rev 1. You can't go wrong with that bike, but it is, you know, $2,400. I get it. It's a lot more expensive. I've been trying to think of what the best bike is under $1,500. Someone asked me on the channel in a comment. I'm like, You know what? I can't even think about what bike is the best under 1500. The BR100 from the same company, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's 1500 to 1600. I would definitely go with that bike instead of this one. That's just my opinion. That was a cool bike. It's not going to be upgradable or anything like that, but I would definitely recommend that one. And the coupon works too. It works for this bike and for that bike, and it's from the same company. So, you know, I'm not saying that just because this is this company's video. I feel like that bike is pretty good. And if you want a bike under $1,000, you can't go wrong with electric. Not electric, but electric. They have some of the best performing e-bikes for $1,000. I've been saying this before I even got to review one. So that's kind of like my recommendation on what I would spend my hard-earned money on. But if you could definitely afford it, Rev 1, the Talari XXX, not for an e-bike. It's not really an e-bike. I don't suggest that one unless like you don't care that it might get confiscated, you know, like, and you got to make sure that you're going to get used to the power and not whiskey throttle and wheelie. You got to be more careful with that bike. But I don't know, guys. You guys drop a comment and let me know. I know you guys always tell me how you feel. You guys are always cool in the chat about like, oh, I like it because you said this. You made a good point on this part. And that's what I really try to do. Sometimes I seriously do miss stuff on these bike reviews, and I apologize. I'll find out like a couple days later after I'm done with it. I'm like, oh, I forgot to talk about that. Like right now, the next bike we'll probably be reviewing is the Frigo F3 when I get time, because I'm busy working for the next like 6 days. It comes with 2 chargers, which is fantastic. That's a huge pro. But the Ingwe X24, I forgot in my last video review to tell you guys, it only comes with 1 charger. That's kind of a con because you have 2 batteries you have to charge and they don't charge together. So I was like, oh my God, that's something I totally messed up and forgot to say. And real quick, hey, you know, we're at the end of the video. Let's see if our pedal assist came back. Nope. I apologize to the company because I put the video out without even sending it to them, and I'm pretty sure they would have told me to hold off on the video and they would have sent me something and maybe got it fixed, or maybe they would even sent me another bike. I don't know. But I just want to be real with you guys on what happens when getting these bikes. Like, they're not cherry picked just for me. I know some YouTubers that have like millions of followers will like cherry pick like, I don't know, CPUs and different stuff, and I feel like I got a flat. Hold on. I seriously think we got a flat in the back. I'm going to keep going as much as possible, but I got a lump in the back. Oh man, this is not good. Let's just keep going. Let's keep going. What was I talking about? Oh, okay, yeah. So these bikes aren't cherry picked for me or anything like that. So they come just like they come to you, and I want to review them exactly the way they come. So point blank, like if there's something that's messed up in the settings, I don't really like to change it other than unlocking the bike to its maximum speed, because that's how all you guys are going to receive the bike. So I did change the mile per hour in today's video because I've already done my video review. So this should be matched up to the real speed, but I'm just letting you guys know that I see a lot of your guys' comments and saying that, well, you can just change this, you can change that, and most of the time you can. I don't really dive too much into the settings and get technical with these bikes. But at the end of the day, really quick, before I get home, I'm gonna pull over here on the side. We're gonna see what the voltage reading is at, and then I'll put the thing up on the chart, and then you guys can see how much our battery went down for roughly, I would say, 13 miles of a trip. Oh my God, why do you gotta keep squeaking? Hold on, let me see this back tire. You know what? Maybe I didn't. Maybe it was just feeling like funky on the road. So it must have just been the trail that I was on, because that road is a little like weird. So the tires must have just ran over it weird, and it must have just kind of been going side to side. It just felt very weird. Anyways, it says we're at 80%. We're not. 47.2 is the voltage on here, and it's gonna keep changing. But really quick, so now that you guys know that, let me turn the bike off and let's turn it back on, and let's see what happens. You guys can probably see my helmet lights flashing on the thing. So after we do that, we have to go back, hit the M button twice. 47.3 volts, so it stayed the same, and our battery actually stayed the same as well, so 82%. So it's not going up like crazy like it normally does. So there you go, guys. You guys can see the voltage right there on the screen and maybe decide this bike is right for you. But just keep in mind the seat needs some work. This should be latched, but here you go. That's how it looks. It just needs to be longer, or what you should do, see these bolts right here? Unloosen them. You can actually slide this more forward. So that's all you actually have to do. You actually don't have to modify anything. They already have these slotted. And then you might want to tighten these because look, mine are loose down there. Come on, man. Come on. Trying to kill me over here. But if you do push down hard enough, see, it barely latches, so it just needs to be longer. So hopefully I was able to help you guys out, and see you guys in the next one. You guys are the true MVPs. Until next time, we'll probably be on one of the fast bikes or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Later, guys.